Hey y'all, today in Kamira's kitchen, I am going to show you how you're going to go from this to this beautiful Christmas brunch buffet. Honey, if you are ready to throw down and impress your guests, you need to watch this whole video because not only am I giving you the recipes, but I am also going to show you how I set and plated everything up. I'm giving you all the tips and the secrets today in Kamira's kitchen. Now, the first thing we're going to start to make is this eggnog French toast. I have 1 cup of eggnog I'm going to add to my bowl. And I have let 7 slices of brioche bread sit out overnight. So they are nice and stale, okay? Into my eggnog mixture, I'm going to add an egg and some pumpkin pie spice, a little bit of vanilla, and a pinch of salt. Because y'all, eggnog will throw you into a sugar coma, okay? That stuff is so sweet to me. So I'm going to use a little salt to balance the flavor, and I'm not adding any extra sugar to this. I'm going to beat together my egg and I'm going to make a custard with the eggnog. Now this is my stale brioche bread. I got this from Aldi. It was really affordable. Okay, so it is really truly stale. Now if you didn't plan in advance and let yours get nice and stale, then you could do this with fresh bread. However, you're going to need to dip this quick, okay, because you don't want it to become soggy. Now don't worry about that little red dot. That is just a rogue sprinkle, okay? Once I have covered them thoroughly, I'm going to set them aside on a tray. Now this amount of custard that I have made is actually perfect for the amount of bread that I have, and I don't want to waste any, so I'm just going to go in and pour it all over my bread. Now making this was so nostalgic for me because actually me and my husband's first cheap college date was making French toast, y'all. Well, I made the French toast. He bought the ingredients and then I cooked it. But yes, this brought back some sweet memories for me. So in my pan, I put in some butter and then I am going to add my French toast. I am going to cook this for about 3 minutes on each side. Now, y'all, I should have used some tongs, okay? But, I was trying to build up my kitchen calluses. So instead, I touched it and flipped it a little bit. Okay, we ain't going to worry about that, all right? You use tongs though. And then I'm going to cook it again on the other side for about 3 minutes. I'm going to place this in the oven on a baking sheet at 185 degrees to keep warm. You can also prep this the day before and then cook it the next day to save time. Next, we are going to make the shrimp and grits. I have 3/4 of a cup of grits. Of course, you can just make this according to the package instructions with the amount that you need. However, I do suggest adding in a little bit of chicken bouillon to give a little bit of extra flavor. I'm going to go in with salt and white pepper, and then I am going to let this come to a boil and then reduce this to low for about 20 minutes because I ain't making no grits for 5 minutes. Black folks don't do that. We be cooking that good 20, 30 minutes sometimes, okay? Next, I'm going to saute up some bacon, and while that is cooking, I have 12 ounces of jumbo shrimp. However, y'all, they put some baby shrimp in my jumbo shrimp. I don't know what the store is trying to do, okay? They cutting corners. I'm going to season this with some Blackened redfish magic, a little bit of crushed pepper, and some Cajun seasoning. Now, you can leave out the crushed red pepper if you don't like things spicy because it's got a little heat on it, okay? I am going to mix this up until it's well coated. But remember, you don't need to put too much seasoning on shrimp. They have a more of a light flavor. I'm then going to add my shrimp right in with my bacon. The bacon is mostly cooked and rendered as fat at this point, so it's pretty okay. Plus, it's a little hard to overcook bacon. I'm then going to add in about 2 cloves of garlic, and I'm going to saute my shrimp up for 2 minutes. You want to watch it, okay, because you don't want no rubber band shrimp. Okay, unless you're making this for, your ex-friend who done stole your man. Now, you might want to give her that rubber band shrimp, but, if it's for people you like, make sure you don't overcook it. And then you want to take out the shrimp and place this to the side. It's okay, however, if some pieces of bacon are left. I'm then going to add in some red bell pepper and a little bit of onion. And I'm going to cook this until it gets a little translucent. But I'm not necessarily looking for it to be caramelized because I want that vibrant color to come through. Next, you want to add in about 1.5 tablespoons of flour. We're going to toast this because we want to make a nice rich gravy for the shrimp to go in. I needed a little bit extra butter, so I threw that in and allowed that to melt. You need enough oil so that you can really toast that flour. I am going to add boiling water. You want to add boiling water because you don't want to reduce the temperature of your pan. Now, I estimated this. I probably put in about 1.5 cups total, but honestly, you just need to do it until you have the amount of gravy that you want. I'm also going to add in a touch of heavy cream to make this nice and creamy, and about half of a shrimp bouillon cube. If you don't have shrimp bouillon, you can also use chicken bouillon. Now, what would take this over the top is actually adding shrimp stock, but baby, I won't try and do all that, okay? It's too much cooking going on, all right? But if you want to boil your shrimp shells and make a shrimp stock, that would be absolutely delicious. I'm going to season this up with a little bit more of the Blackened redfish magic and then throw in the majority of my shrimp. I'm going to save some at the side to put on top of the dish just so, people know they're getting shrimp, okay? And then I'm going to mix this together with the shrimp juices, and you will have an absolutely lovely shrimp gravy, dear. Now I'm going to finish up these grits, all right, because they are now nice and tender at this point. But we want to add a little cheese, a little butter, a little something to make this extra special. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of sharp cheddar cheese, okay? It's just pre-sliced. It's not Kraft cheese. Okay, I'm going to put in about 2 tablespoons of butter and a few tablespoons of heavy cream. I'm then going to just add salt and pepper until it gets the right taste. If you make this earlier on in the meal, you can just put this on an eye on the lowest setting, and grits will actually stay warm and loose for a few hours like this. Just mix it up about every hour or so. Next is the chicken. Now the chicken can definitely be marinated the night before. I am going to go in with some lemon pepper, a little chicken bouillon, a little MSG. I'm also going to go in with my poultry magic seasoning. This is my favorite chicken seasoning, and this roasted garlic and herb seasoning. I'm going to mix this together with some mustard, hot sauce, and a touch of buttermilk. Now I'm literally putting enough buttermilk just to lightly cover the chicken. Okay, it's not going to be submerged in the slightest. All right. And I'm also going to add some salt. I am going to mix this together, and I'm going to allow this to sit at room temperature for about 45 minutes because I did not prep this the day before. I have 2 Walmart bags. Okay, y'all know. Okay, we not trying to do all the extra cleanup and we doing all this cooking. Okay, into this bag, I am going to add a few cups of self-rising flour. Then I'm adding the same seasonings that I put on the chicken, and I'm going to shake this up. You could also use, the paper bag. That's old school, but, I don't get paper bags no more. We only got plastic. I am going to add in about 2 chicken wings at a time. This recipe would also be great with some chicken legs, which are really affordable, or even chicken thighs. I personally do not like to fry chicken breast because I find it comes out, a lot drier most of the time. I'm going to mix this around well, and you want to make sure that you actually press the chicken, press it, because you want that flour to really adhere well. And something like a chicken wing, has a lot of crevices, so you definitely need to make sure you get it on good. I'm then going to take it and set it aside on a baking sheet so that the coating can get moist. I'm going to repeat this until I do all my pieces of chicken. If you've been enjoying this video, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and also to subscribe to this channel if you want to see more of this content. I put out new recipes every single week. Watching the entire video, giving me a thumbs up, commenting, these things actually help me be able to make more content. Since I am reusing this oil, I'm going to just add a little bit of rosemary to freshen it up, and then I'm going to add in my chicken. I am going to allow this chicken wings to cook for about 10 minutes. Since they are the larger type, they're going to need that time. Once my rosemary is brown, I'm going to fetch that out because you definitely do not want it to burn in the oil. If you do not have rosemary, you could also use large slices of onion or even a few whole cloves of garlic and just fetch those out when they're brown as well. This chicken is going to be a little bit dark because it's reused oil, but it is indeed perfectly cooked. I also set this in the oven to keep warm with my French toast. We are going to make the best rosemary, honey, garlic butter to put on the chicken. You cannot skip this part. It adds a great flavor. All it is a little bit of butter, rosemary, garlic cloves, and a few dashes of hot sauce simmered in a pan until it is nice and bubbly. Right before we serve, we are going to brush on this rosemary garlic butter. I am going to show you how to make the best breakfast potatoes. In a pot, I'm going to add some water and some chicken bouillon and salt. I am heavily seasoning this water so that my potatoes will have a nice flavor. I have cut up a few red potatoes into about 1-inch size chunks, and I'm going to let this boil for about 5 to 7 minutes until the potatoes are just cooked. Then I will drain them and rinse them with cold water. You could also boil the potatoes the night before and then brown them the next day. I am going to brown them in some butter and some olive oil. You need to just let them sit for about 5 minutes on medium to medium high heat. Do not stir this often or the potatoes will not get brown. I'm going to season this with some Cajun seasoning as well as some chipotle and roasted garlic seasoning. If you do not want to do this on the stovetop, you can also cook these at 400 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes in the oven on a metal pan. They definitely need to have good contact with the metal in order to get brown. About 10 minutes in, I'm going to put in some peppers and some onions. I don't add them in at the beginning because I don't want them to get overly brown. I am then going to toss these around until the potatoes, the onions, and the peppers get the color that I want. In total, I cook these potatoes about 10 minutes. You could also add in some fresh rosemary, but I just forgot to do that. Now you guys know how to make eggs. I'm going to cook some nice fluffy eggs to go with this brunch. But one tip I have is when they're about 70% done, cut off the heat and just allow the eggs to cook in the residual heat. You definitely want to make sure you take them out the pan so that they do not overcook. Now we are going to set up this beautiful brunch. I have a round tray that I have just covered with a little bit of wax paper. This plate was from Home Goods. It was only about 10 bucks. This is a round wooden cutting board. And I also have a few decorations that I got from Michael's. And I borrowed a lot of things from friends as well. That is one way you can make this more affordable. Honey, borrow some from a friend, okay? I'm going to go in first with my French toast. And I'm going to arrange it the way you see it here. I'm also going to add in some croissants that I bought from the store. You don't have to make everything from scratch to have a great brunch. I'm also going to put on a few little cinnamon rolls, but donut holes would also be super cute as well. I'm going to fill in the gaps with some fruit. I like to put the pineapple in its own little container because it will let off a little bit of juice. And I have different colored grapes and strawberries that I have washed well. Now, really, you could use almost any type of fruit that's in seasoning or available at your supermarket that you want. I think the key here is to separate things by color. That's going to make everything more visually appealing. I do like to put the strawberries near the French toast because most people like to have berries with their French toast. To make the eggnog French toast stand out, I am going to sprinkle on a little bit of powdered sugar with my sifter. And then I will take some raspberries and fill in the gaps between the croissants and the French toast with the raspberries. And for a pop of color, I will drizzle on a little bit of the blueberries. Y'all, this is all it takes to make it look like you catered and you did not. You can use any board you have or tray you have at your house. I just took this little garland from Michael's and put it around it, and it immediately made it look more festive. I have plated up my shrimp and grits on the back in a bowl, and then I'm adding some homemade Christmas cookies. You guys will see the recipes for that coming up later this week. Now I'm going to dress my hot plate. Okay, so I have warmed up the potatoes in their microwave, and then I'm going to add on my scrambled eggs. These are still warm because I made those fresh. And lastly, I have my chicken. I took this out of the oven. It's been staying warm, and then I'm going to brush it with the rosemary garlic butter for serving. This chicken is so delicious. You could also make waffles instead of French toast if you want that chicken and waffles vibe. So this is the full setup. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this brunch video. Can you believe this was my first time decorating for a brunch? Let me know if you feel like I did a good job. Remember, Jesus is the reason for this season. God bless you for supporting this channel, and goodbye.